Today, I'm gonna walk you through 10 common mistakes that people make when buying a home for the first time that are literally costing them thousands of dollars when it comes time to sell. We've all done it. You walk into a house and immediately you fall in love with it and you just have to have it. Maybe it has a stunning kitchen. Maybe it's the backyard. Maybe it's the fact that it's got more room than you've ever experienced before. Or maybe it's just that feeling that you feel when you walk through that front door. The problem with emotion is it's going to put a gap over the glaring red flags that most people just don't see. I've seen buyers overlook busy roads, awkward layouts, aging mechanical systems, neighborhood concerns, simply because they fell in love with the kitchen or some other amenities that the home had to offer. The reality when it comes to homes is that it should make sense both emotionally and financially. A home can feel perfectly fine today, but then months and years go by and suddenly this home becomes a massive headache. The best buyers are going to learn to balance logic with emotion. It's 100% okay to fall in love with the house, but let's make sure that we think through things logically down the road in the event some of these life circumstances come up. That way, if we need to get out of the home and we don't want to just break even and actually make some profit, we're actually thinking about these things more thoroughly. Now, this is a truth that many people, unfortunately, they find out the hard way. You can literally almost change everything about a house, but you cannot change its location. You can remodel the kitchen, you can remodel the bathroom, you can add more livable space, you can do all these wonderful things, but you can't move the house away from a busy highway. You can't move the house away from a turkey farm or a noisy commercial property or a neighborhood that's just naturally declining. One of the biggest problems that I see is people spend so much time evaluating all the things the home has to offer, but they don't take that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes to drive around the neighborhood to see what it has to offer. So to avoid this, visit the home on different days. Drive through on the weekends. Drive through after people get out of work. Check specific traffic patterns. Look at nearby homes. Pay attention to how other properties are maintained. This is the key point. Oftentimes, the neighborhood itself has more potential resale value on your home than just doing the upgrades that people always talk about. So pay attention to it and make sure that you understand what you're buying. This is one of the most dangerous mistakes that people make. Oftentimes I see people walking into a home and the very first question that they ask is, can I afford this home? Now, this is important, but it's not the whole picture. Two homes with similar monthly payments are going to appreciate differently over time. One of the homes may appreciate significantly, and the other home may just barely go up in value. I always want you to think about when buying a home, it's not just can I afford it? You obviously need to love the home, but you should also always be thinking about if I have to sell this home down the road, will other buyers fall in love with it the way I did? Because remember, a piece of real estate isn't just a home. It's the biggest financial investment that most people make, and it should be treated that way. So when buying a home, don't just think about that payment. Think about reality, life. If I have to move 5, 10, 15 years down the road, is someone else going to appreciate the home as it is? And if you were to do other things to build some additional equity in the house, would other people love that just as much as you do right now? Home inspections are crucial because they're going to give you the ins and outs of the house. Whether you're buying a home inspection for your own personal use or using it as an opportunity to maybe negotiate in the real estate contract, it's very important that you do it, and I would highly recommend that you get one done. Because nothing destroys home excitement faster than having major issues when you walk through the front door for the very first time. Home inspections are meant to give you a proper understanding of how this home has been treated. Has there been any updates done? What are some red flags that you could potentially see? Are they major? Are they minor? Can you live with them, or can they be done down the road? Things such as the age of your roof, the age of all your utilities, foundation concerns, electrical concerns, water concerns, pest inspection concerns. The list goes on and on and on. However, it's just very important that you do this and you do it right. It's going to cost you a couple $100 depending on where you're at, but if you're going to spend a couple $100,000 on a home, don't you feel that this is a very important step that you should take? Never let home excitement overlook the important things of buying a home. Oftentimes I hear buyers move into a house and they immediately start working on projects that they want to get done. New kitchen, new flooring, new paint, luxury finishes, maybe a fence outside. It's your home at the end of the day, and if that's what your plan was moving forward when you bought the home, do it. However, some things don't add the value that you actually put into building it. In fact, some of these upgrades can actually make it harder for you to sell your home in the future. I've seen a homeowner spend over $100,000 renovating a home only to get a fraction of that back when they sold it in the future. So before doing any heavy renovations, reach out to a local real estate agent and ask what are buyers actually looking for in this market. Now again, let me preface, if you want to do it just because it's something that you had planned for, do it. But if you're not sure and you think that it's going to add value to your house if you sell it down the road, reach out to a professional and ask them what's going on in your market. That way you can make a good informed decision. Because sometimes simple modifications, they actually add more value than a full-blown renovation to the house. Floor plans matter way more than most people realize. A house can have all the fixings, all the finishes, but still feel very awkward. Have you ever seen the bathroom in the middle of the house? Awkward. Maybe the kitchen is disconnected from the living space. Maybe the primary bedroom lacks privacy. And sometimes these issues, they're not really glaring out at you when you're walking through the home because you're just naturally excited to be shopping for a home. But they will become very obvious when you start to live in it, trust me. And I can promise you this, future home buyers, they will also notice this. Modern buyers today place so much value on functionality over updates because a practical layout makes way more sense than having a new kitchen or a new master bathroom or a newly freshly painted house with new flooring. So when shopping for a home, don't just pay attention to what it looks like, pay attention to how it feels, how it functions. Natural light is one of the most underrated features of a home. How do you feel when you walk into a bright, sunny room? Ask yourself that. Now imagine how it feels when you walk into a dark room. How do you feel? Bright and sunny rooms instantly feel larger, more inviting, more homely, and dark rooms feel less appealing. They bring out emotions of sadness, depression, anxiety. The interesting thing that I see when I hear people talking about homes is they don't pay a lot of attention to natural light, and they don't really understand really how important it is. But trust me, cloudy days, they're going to become more noticeable. Certain rooms are just going to feel dark all day long, and suddenly the home doesn't quite feel as welcoming. When you're shopping for a home, I want you to pay attention to window placement, room orientation, and how much sunlight actually enters throughout the day. Natural light may seem like a small finite detail, but has a surprisingly large impact on potential resale value. Keeping up with the Jones isn't always the best way to go about real estate. I know, everyone wants that big house. And most buyers assume that bigger is naturally always better. But being the largest, most expensive home in the area can oftentimes create a lot of challenges. Because in real estate, nearby homes are used to calculate the potential resale value on your home. Now imagine that there are no supporting comps to your house. And when your property is significantly higher than the rest of the homes in the neighborhood, it may be hard to justify its potential resale value in the future. Because if an appraiser has to go out, say 3 or 4 miles and maybe even a slightly different zip code, and that zip code naturally sells homes at a lower price tag than your home, it may be really hard for that appraiser to figure out what the proper valuation is of your home. Because remember, buyers are going to compare other similar properties to justify the value that you want when selling. And just because it's drastically bigger and larger than other homes doesn't mean that a potential buyer is going to justify that in their mind. They're going to be thinking about the maintenance costs. What are the taxes? What is it actually going to cost to live in this house day to day? Oftentimes, I find it more valuable to own one of the nicer homes in the neighborhood as compared to the biggest home on the block. Nothing is going to shoot your value down more than deferred maintenance. I want you to imagine you're walking into a home for the first time and the home is on the market for $450,000. Now your real estate has already ran comps and said, listen, comps do support a $450,000 price tag on this home. However, the seller is in a good market and wants $470,000. So you're automatically going to be questioning as to whether or not that seller is going to get that amount of money. You walk into the home and the very first thing that you see is carpet that's ripped up. You see holes in the wall. You walk into the kitchen and you notice that the countertops are coming off the wall. There's no caulk behind it. Maybe there's broken glass. You walk outside onto the deck and the deck has cracked wood. It hasn't been stained in 2 years. The list goes on and on and on. How are you feeling at this time? Are you going to be wanting to present a full price offer to that seller? No, absolutely not. Now on the other side, if you were to walk in that home and it were to be completely maintained, everything looks brand new like it belongs belongs in a magazine. You can tell that the homeowner took a lot of pride, a lot of joy in that home, and even though it's $20,000 above what the comps say, it's in the perfect area, it's exactly what you want, and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. What are you more than likely going to do? There's a good chance that more than likely you're going to offer a good solid offer, maybe even give that seller what they want, because you can justify that value based on how well it's been maintained and what the potential future equity on this house could possibly be, because it's sitting in an area that's appreciating 5-8% per year. Small issues make a big difference down the road. So always stay ahead of maintenance on your home, because if you don't, it's going to really shock the value of your home when and if you decide to sell it in the future. This is the most important point in this video, and I've only seen a handful of people in my 10 years of doing this that actually think like this. Even if you don't consider yourself an investor, you need to be thinking like one. Every decision that you make, whether you're buying a house or something else, it has a financial impact on your future. Smart buyers are asking these questions. Will this neighborhood remain desirable? Is inventory limited? Are schools improving? Are businesses investing nearby? Does this property offer features that other buyers will want? Most successful homeowners don't just buy a house because they immediately fall in love with it when they walk in the door. They buy a house that not only they love, but they know that other people will love too. Trust me, the difference can make a significantly resounding impact on your financial bottom line in the future. If you want to avoid the mistakes that quietly destroy people financially after buying a home, make sure you watch the next video, because one bad decision in real estate can cost you years of regret.